So, hello everyone. Today, we will have a task related to the file processing. Also, I will try to add some try and catch techniques to handling running time exception during that task. The task will focus about creating an account as a sub process or a sub task for this tutorial. So, we're using accounts every day. We have an account for our social networks like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. And you have also accounts for our mobile phone, for emails, for bank accounts. So, it's something interesting in our real life. So, today task is to create an account. So, we will ask a user to enter in a valid user ID, which is the meaning valid. It's meaning nobody choose that user ID before you. Second thing, we need to ask a user to enter in a password. Now, after entering a password and re-entering the password, of course, we need to make a double check for that password. We will create an account. Creating an account, we will create an object from that class called account. We will store it inside list of accounts, and we will then generate a file inside current folder of our processes. This text file will holding account id.txt will be a textual file. Inside that file, we will store the password. Now also we will have another process called change password or update password, because during running time, if we try to implement a C++ program, it's easy to store that password and user ID inside variables. But now what will happen if we try to stop running or stop debugging our Xcode or Visual Studio? We will lose the data. So if we rerun it again, we need to restoring again that once. Now we will have advanced thing by storing all information inside that one. So even if we close or we stop running our application, now when we rerun again that application, the password will be already stored inside text files. In real life, we store it inside database, but today let's imagine that our database is a kind of text files. The third process will be deleting an account. So we will ask a user to entering the user ID. After that, for a security reason, we will ask user to entering the current password for that account. Because if that password is not matched now with our database or with that password saved inside one, so now we will have a security issue. So we will try to prevent deleting that account or deleting that file. But now if the password is matched, so this is this user know the account password, so he have the privilege to do delete operation. So we will delete an object from a list, and then we will delete a file, text file from a folder. As an advanced step also, I try to implement something called encryption process. Encryption process, we try to manipulate with the password and change the password for security reasons before we save it or store it inside the file. Why? Because in real life, we don't store a password or sensitive data directly inside database. No, we try to encrypt the data before we store it inside database. Because even if someone try to crack system and open the file or open the database, he will find encrypted data inside database. So he will take a time to crack that encryption process. It will be a simple process, for a beginner. I will explain it after we finish implementing the system. Now also we have another process for security, which is called decryption. Decryption is an opposite for encryption. So we have encryption and decryption. So decryption, we will try to read encrypted password from that text file, try to re-modifying or re-manipulate with that password to be the original one. So we will go back to the original one. Now we will try to match that original one after decryption process, and if it's matched, we will delete the file. So it will be something interesting. The output for our process should be something like that. So we will have a folder for our processes, or for our coding, that doing that all that functionality processes. Now that folder will contain a multiple textual file. Each textual file, as I said before, it holds account id.txt, and inside that ones we will contain password for each account. Now we will have extra text file called the manager.txt, which is related to our accounts manager. So our account manager, we will processing that accounts. We need to save the metadata or store metadata inside that text file. So now let's move to the coding side, uh, or a technical side. Now here today I will use what Xcode, trying to implementing that process, because it's easier to use a Visual Studio. It's the same code, by the way, and I will upload that implementation on GitHub. So let's first start adding a new file. So as I mentioned, we need what? A header file. Of course, we will try to split the code as usual as a header file and CPP file. So I will create that header file called account. Nice. And as usual, I told you to try to avoid a guard one, because it will what let me see the autocomplete. This is a problem with Xcode. So I try to start running that one, because it's make optimization on my Mac. So I create a class called an account. That's the first thing. Now I need to make some private data member. So the first thing I need what? I need a string as an account ID. And also I need what? Another string for what? For a password. So nice, and here nice, we don't have any problem. So we have two private attributes for each account. It contains what? Account ID, and what? Um, a password for that account. Uh, so now we need what? We need a constructor, and we need another constructor. Fine, we need also what? Destructor. Now, because we have two attributes as a private for this class, so then we need to what? To write or to implement functions getter and setters. So I will start with getters. So std string, I will call it what? Get account ID. Nice. And I need also another getter for what? To get password. Nice. Mm -mm -mm. mm. Let me move that one. So now I need to what? I need setter functions. So let's speed up the process by what? And void, and here we have what? Set, and we have what? Set. So nice. This should be what, that's what we need for now. Okay. And now we need what? We need a CPP file for. Here you can see that we have that option also create a header file, but I will move it because we already create that one. So I will call it what? Account, and yeah. So now what? We need to implement CPP file. So I will start implement what? The default constructor. So here I have this dot what? Dot account ID is an empty, and this dot what? Dot password also is empty. Let's make our code more pretty. Now we have what? We have also the second. um, Let me try to see if I can. Yeah. So here I need a string, which is ID, and I need also a string as what? As a password. Nice. Here I will say ID, and here I will say what? Password. Now we have account uh, destructor. So here simply I will say what? I need to do some IO streaming. Okay. So I will say cout what? Account, and I will try to call the ID without. Nice. Don't forget the space here to make your code pretty, or the output pretty. Now let's start with account getters. So I will make a return what is what that account ID. Nice. And here I will create an account, get what? Password. So I need also to get that password. So return this password. We need also what? To create account setup now. So Nice. Okay. So it will take string ID. So I have to replace that one. And set what? Password. So it will take password. Of course, I will use that function to update the password. You can see. So what we finish programming. We finish programming or implementing account. So now we need to move to our manager, and it will be what somewhat complicated, but I'll try my best to make it simple for you. So we have something called an accounts manager. Nice. And here again, I don't know why on auto compiling completing it's not working with my Mac. So however, so class what accounts manager. Now what we need actually as an attributes for that one, we need something called number of accounts that manager can access it, and also we need an array of what of accounts or list of array or list of accounts. So we can now represent that list of accounts with two or two techniques. I try to use you already know how to use array, but many students have a problem with vectors. So I will try to show you how we can use a vector. So first here I have a problem because I forgot to include two things. First thing, we need to include what? Account footage, because we need to use that one. Second thing, we need to include what? Vector library. So it's std vector. Nice. And now we will open account. So we need a pointer because we need to create that one as a dynamic. And I will name this list as what? As an accounts ruler name, something with meaningful name. So now what we need constructor and we need destructor. Okay, on destructor, because we have a list. Okay, we have a list of account. Let me check if I copy paste rightly. Yeah, we need a list of accounts. Okay, so here we have a dynamic memory, as I told you. So we need to free that memory or to free that list of dynamic memories on safe way okay, to avoid memory leak a problem. So now I need many functionality for that manager. So the first process, as I said, we need add account. We need also remove account, which is related to delete. Also, we need what? We need change password. So you can see that three main functions that we need. So now it's your option. You can create an account from the main. So if I create that object from the main, I need here a parameter. I need something like that. Nice. Let's say A. Nice. But I will try to not create anything from the main. I don't want my main function to be more complicated. So I try to move that headache or that heavy functions or that heavy coding to the CPP file of manager, because it's the responsibility for that class to handling that kind of process. So because I don't want to use a main to passing or to sending arguments to the manager, I will try to create that process inside manager. So because of that, if I will create a dynamic object inside that function, so I don't need to pass any parameter. So because of that, I make it null arguments. So I don't use any arguments inside that one. So let's move also to add some extra um, functions for our manager. So for example, I need what to display all accounts of that manager. Okay, and probably I need to do something called get number of accounts, a getter function for that attribute. Okay, maybe I will use it on future. So let's skip that functions for now. Okay, and if we need to add another function, we will see what we have to add. So let's make it. Let's move to the implementation side. So I don't need that one. Because I already create the header file. Yep. And here I don't need that one. I need to include what? Account manager. So the heavy code will be inside that function. It will be somehow crazy, but I will try to explain it step by step. So here, let's move to the constructor. Now here the default constructor, I will not take any parameters. It will work automatically for us. It's easy reason, user friendly, and it's also for security, because I don't want what external users to controlling or trying to modify any processes inside my manager. Okay, because it will processing sensitive files or sensitive data. So the first step here, I will try to see or to load data from my manager with txt. If you're remembering here, I will have what? A manager txt. Manager txt will hold a list of names of accounts. So if I have an accounts already created by my program, I need to load that metadata. If I don't have accounts, so it should that file should be empty. But imagine if you're running the application for the first time. So for the first time, I will not find that one. So we have three scenarios. First one, we're running the application for the first time. So that manager will not be created. Second thing, uh, let's say we will load a list of accounts from that file. So this is the first scenario. Now also the third scenario is that file is exist, but we don't created any accounts until now, so it should be empty. So for the first thing, I need to handling or to processing that one. So imagine you trying to opening file that is not exist. So now we will get a problem. So we need to use what? Try and catch. Okay, so I'll try to build that try catch, because I need to check if that one. Okay, I will make it a general catch for now. Then I will change it as I want. So I need to read a data from what? From a file. You can see that one if string is not what is not declared, is not defined, because here I forget to add that built-in or C++ built-in library. So here we need something called what? String. Nice. So that's the library that holding or that can accessing processes for files. It's file streaming. It's same thing like what also we need what we need something called IO stream for input output. Both of that library you needing what? Need to use what? That famous namespace, which is what? std. So now you can see we remove that error. So I will call that one what? File manager. Okay, inside that file manager I will what do? I will manager.txt, and here don't forget to add a flag, which is what? N. So here actually what I did, I try to see if that file is existing or not. Okay, so if it exists, I will load the data. If it's not exist, I will make an exception. So here let me try to create an exception or special exception. So I will say if not that file manager, so it's not exist. So I will do what? I will handling that by using throw keywords. So here I throw what? I throw integer. So I don't want what? I don't want that general exception here. Why I use that exception? Because I can make a code for that error, kind of error. So code error -1 means I can't load manager.txt. So it's a kind of dictionary. We use it as an advanced. I told you we try to avoid that kind of exception, general exceptions, for many reasons. So I will make it what? int err. Nice. So that's a catch block. So that catch block is related here for that row. Nice. So let me